Welcome to my channel, and I'm back with you once again with another video of Microsoft Flight Simulator 24. Nowadays I'm doing a series of videos for the Cessna 172, and in this regard this is going to be another one in which I will tell you how to perform a VOR approach if the VOR is not aligned with the runway. Because before this I made a video and the VOR was just like at the start of the runway, so it's really easy to perform that kind of an approach. Even for this airport you can see the VOR is just right next to the runway. You can simply track this VOR and you can land the plane. So I have found a very good example for Scathos. If you are landing at runway 1, you can see there is no VOR over here, but it's over here. And you have a transition at SKP, which is the VOR, and from here the approach starts. So today in this video, I will tell you how you can fly this approach. So every time when I'm making a video, I'm making it for the beginners. So that's why I will just try to keep things really simple. Still, if I miss anything, and if you want to add anything to this video, the comment section is there for you. I will be really grateful because it's a learning platform and we all are learning from each other. So VOR is actually a very high frequency omnidirection range. It's a device on the ground, a ground-based navigation device, which emits signals in all the directions, 360 degrees. So the planes actually track those radio signals and they navigate their way through the airspace. So on the map, if you see any shape like this, hexagonal shape with a square around it, it's actually a VOR DME. A DME is actually a distance measuring equipment. So this VOR also tells you the distance, that how far you are from this VOR, if you are traveling away from it or traveling towards it. Now there is also a catch in this approach. You also have to do some NDB navigation, which is non-directional beacon. So it's a video based on VOR and NDB navigation. Let's make a flight plan and then I will just explain everything for you. So I will be using this passenger variant and the route I will be doing the short flight. So I will select this as the departure, and this will be the destination. That's it. Now let's get the approach for runway 1. So runway 1 is already selected. I can fly direct towards it. If I select it, then that's it. Now I can also select this NDB DME. So what if I select this NDB? So what will happen is this, that I can fly from this airport. I can come to this point. And from here, I can start tracking the NDB and I will land, which is the non-directional beacon. But let's change it and also add SKP as a transition. So transition is actually a point from where the arrival ends and the approach starts. So that's why this SKP is the transition. So if I select this, then you will be tracking this VOR. So now in this case, you will actually fly from this airport. You will fly in this heading 88 degrees by tracking this VOR. And by the time you're near this VOR, you turn right, 202 degrees. You can keep on flying it. This is 3 nautical miles at this point. And further, you will travel 7 nautical miles before you turn right. So this is a total distance of 10 nautical miles. You will travel like this. Then you will turn right, heading 313. And then from here, you will start tracking the NDB. VOR navigation and NDB navigation is actually non-precision. As you can see, it's not precise. It's not taking you to the runway. If you keep on flying like this, you will just land over here. So in this regard, you should have a good RVR, runway visual range, and you should be able to see the runway so that you can just align your plane with the runway. That's it. So when I'm talking about tracking the VORs, just look at this line. This is now actually the direction that I should be taking during the flight by tracking this VOR. So now it's 88 degrees, so I have to fly in this direction. I can, let's say if I take off and turn left, and then again I start traveling in this direction, 88 degrees, then obviously I'm not on this line. This is known as the radial, the outbound radial for this VOR. And similarly, if I just deviate from the course and if I just go over here and start traveling 88 degrees then obviously I will be missing this VOR. So I will be somewhere here. So in order to travel in this direction, you have to follow this course. So you have a CDI, which is known as the course deflection indicator. It's there in the plane. You can just tune into this VOR, and then you have to follow this actually particular path. This is known as the radial of this VOR. So if you're going away from this VOR, you are tracking this radial of 88 degrees, which is also known as the outbound radial. And for this VOR, you're also tracking the outbound radial. So if you extend this line, you're actually tracking it in 88 degrees. You're going away from this VOR, but obviously you're turning right. So there is also an inbound radial for this VOR, which is actually 88. You have to basically add 180 degrees to it to get the reciprocal of it. So if I add 180 to 88, you'll get 268. So the inbound radial for this VOR is 268. So that's how you basically do the VOR navigation. So to keep things simple, once I take off from this airport, I will keep on flying in this heading, 88 degrees. But I will be tracking this VOR and this one also. I will be tracking both of the VORs. Why I'm doing this, I'll explain it to you. A VOR has a range of 200 miles, roughly. So it can pick up the signals, but it's not really precise. As long as you are far from the VOR, you're not precise. So maybe you're seeing it that you're traveling in this heading 88, but you might be deflected from the course. But as soon as you're near the VOR, then your accuracy increases, and then you are exactly on this line. So that's why, just to keep the accuracy, once I will take off, I will be tracking this VOR when I'm going away from it. And halfway, I will be tracking this VOR where I'll be just going towards it. So this will be my from, and this will be to VOR. So let's get in the plane, and let's configure the plane for the flight. But before this, let's save this flight plan. I'll just keep a simple name VOR and save it. So now I'm in the plane. Let's get the electronic flight bag and load the flight plan and send it to Avionics. Now you can see this flight plan is here. Now the Garmin G1000 is really powerful in this simulator, and you can do many things over here. Even the flight plan that I was making over there in the map, you can just make a flight plan over here. Now you can get also the frequencies for these VORs. So instead of opening any charts, you can just get the information from here. If you move this larger knob over here for FMS, which is Flight Management System, you will see it takes you through different options. You can look at the nearest airports, intersections, NDBs, and VORs. So I'll select VOR because I want to get the frequency. So first of all, I will be tracking this VOR AGH. So let's enter the frequency of this VOR, which is 110.40. So right now you can see there is this rectangle around this number. So you can change this 110.40. So just move the larger knob to change the numbers before the decimal, and smaller one for the numbers after the decimal. Now click this, and now you are tracking this VOR. Now for Scathos, this is SKP. So just bring your cursor over here, hold it with your left mouse button, and then click it with the right, and then scroll through it. Now SKP is 113.4. So I will also change this box from this nav1 to nav2. Same procedure, left mouse click and then right by holding the left mouse button, and the frequency is 113.40. So let's change it. And that's it. Now you can see for nav1, you are tracking AGH, and for nav2, you are tracking SKP. Now on the CDI, just press this option and you will get this VOR. If you press it again, you'll get to VOR2 and then to GPS. So the GPS flight plan is there. I just loaded it for the reference, but I will be carrying out the VOR navigation. Now the course. You are heading towards SKP. So for AGH and for SKP, the heading will be 88 degrees. But for AGH, you will be going away from this VOR, and to SKP, you are actually going towards SKP. So let's set the heading to 88. So this is the course, and you can just adjust the course to 88. That's it. Now this is the course deflection indicator, which is telling you your course, where your course should be, and either you're following that line or not. When I'm talking about the line, if you look at this map, this is actually the magenta line. As I was explaining it to you before, that if you have to travel in 88 degrees, you can just travel to 88 degrees from anywhere, from here to here or anywhere in the world. But obviously it will not take you to this point. So you have to track this outbound radial for SKP 88 degrees. So this actually course deflection indicator needle, this tells you whether you are following this course or not, and plus your heading is correct or not. So that's why you have to adjust the course. But this is my intended course. Once I will take off, if I put the plane in autopilot mode and if I turn the heading mode on, the plane will go in this direction, 360. So I also have to adjust the heading. But I will be intercepting this line, let's say, if I keep it at 110, because it's towards the right side. So I have to take off, turn right till the time this needle is in the middle, and then I will just start following this heading. And again, for the SKP, for the Scathos VR, let's set the heading to 88. That's it. So now you have both the VRs, and let's get some more information over here. Go to this PFD option and just click this option bearing 1. So once you press bearing 1 on the left hand side, you will get the VR that you are tracking, and you will also see this bearing pointer with a single line. So this bearing pointer is actually pointing towards the VR, the actual position of the VR. So now you've got three informations. As a beginner, you might get confused, but I'll just explain it to you. If I move the course, you can see nothing is happening to this needle because it is pointing towards this VR, the actual VR. So my course can be like this or anywhere. But my plane will not be following this course because my heading is different. So I have to, set the heading bug in this direction in order to follow this course. So that's why just remember this thing, that this needle will keep on pointing towards this VR. So let's adjust this course again. Now, interestingly, right now, as I'm on the runway and VR is somewhere over here, so that's why this bearing pointer is towards this VR. Once I will take off and I'm far away from this airport, this bearing pointer will be pointing in this direction because I will be going away from this VR. But for SKP, if I press this again, nav2 will come. For SKP, if I just turn it off, now you will see there is an arrow, a bearing pointer with two lines, which means you're following the VR2. So if I press this, now three lines are appearing. So it means you are following this SKP VR on both of the bearing pointers. So that's how basically it works. And right now, there is a slight difference, but this arrow, for the HH, it will just turn in this direction to show you that you're going away from this VR. So now let's prepare the plane for the flight and just press this button heading, and you can see heading. So once now you will take off, you will be following this heading. Let me just adjust the course again. That's it. And this course is also correct, and just keep it over here, because if I just move into this option, then the plane will be actually following the GPS. It will not follow the VR. So I will just keep it like this. And let me set the vertical speed to 1200 because I will be using flight level change, and I will be cruising at 6,000 feet. Now let's release the park brakes and take this plane up in the air. And I can turn on the autopilot, heading mode, and flight level change. That's it. Now the plane will actually fly towards this VOR. Now I'm just going to pause it and just want to bring your attention to this bearing pointer. As now I'm crossing this VOR, you will see that this bearing pointer with a single line, it's changing. So soon it will be just pointing in this direction. You will know that you're going away from this VOR, which is AGH. And this distance will keep on increasing, and this distance will keep on decreasing. Now I'm going to intercept this line, and let me just show you when I say intercept the line, what does it mean? You can see now I'm there. Slightly off also. Let me just adjust it. And now you're there. Even a little bit of deflection, you can just correct it, because as I told you before, once you're near the VOR, the accuracy is really high. So, small movements make a difference. And once you are away from it, then the accuracy decreases. As you can see now, the deflection is little. So now let's look at the approach plate. I can bring up the approach plate for Scathos for runway 1. And this is the VOR approach. Now over here, there are a few things that you have to consider. So once you will reach this VOR, if I zoom in, I have to turn right. Heading is 202. If I'm at 6,000 feet by this point, which is D3, once I'm traveling away from this VOR, when I will be 3 nautical miles away from this VOR, I will descend to 4,000 feet. And then further 7 nautical miles, I will descend to 2,000 feet. It means that D10, it means when you are away from this VOR by 10 nautical miles, then you have to descend to 2,000. And from here, you will take this turn and you will follow this NDB or track this NDB, and your heading should be 007. So the frequency of NDB is also given 326 SKC with the identifier. So that's how you will fly this procedure for the approach. And I will just keep this approach plate over here so that, we have a good reference, and plus we have also the flight plan over here on the navigation display. I can just clear it and get rid of it. That's it. So I can just look at the flight plan and see whether I'm tracking this flight plan correctly or not. Let me just adjust the heading, because there's a little bit of deflection. This is actually known as the CDI needle, course deflection indicator needle. It should be in the middle. And that's it. Now you can see that I'm 5.9 nautical miles away from this VOR AGH, or 6 nautical miles away from this VOR, and 32 nautical miles away from SKP. So halfway, I will also tune into SKP over here on navigation 1, because then I don't have to track this AGH. Right now I'm tracking it because, I have to have a very precise navigation. As you can see, the plane is actually following this line. This is good. Really proud of myself. Just kidding. Okay, so I will just now wait for halfway, and then I will just change the frequencies, and then I will tell you how you will proceed with the rest of the approach procedure. Now you can see that I'm almost halfway, and I can change now my navigation to SKP, this VOR, and let me just adjust the heading so that it's in the middle, the CDI needle. Now even for VOR1 or NAV1, I will be tracking SKP. So I will just change it to 113.40 and that's it. Now let me just adjust the heading. Now I will change the CDI and I'll bring up the VOR1. Now as per the approach plate, I have to turn right heading 202. So let's change the course over here and let's take it to 202. That's it. Now at some point I will just turn right and towards this heading. And what point? When this CDI needle will start to move in the middle. You know that you are near this line and you have to intercept this course. So that's why I will just keep this over here. And just for the navigation, I'm keeping VOR2 in this course, 88 degrees. So that's how you basically use NAV1 and NAV2 to track VORs and set your course accordingly. Now you can see both of the bearing pointers are pointing in the same direction because now we are tracking the same VOR. But over here, the heading is different because the course is 202. So when to start turning? So maybe you can just look at the deflection and you can start turning right. But there is a formula for this. You divide the speed by 200 and you get your answer, which is 0.4. So roughly 0.5 nautical miles before this VOR, you will start turning right. So this is a very good calculation. So once I'll have a 0.5 nautical miles over here, I will start turning right, heading 202. So let's keep on tracking this VOR. So before I turn right towards the approach, there is another thing that we have to do is to get the frequency for the NDB. So if you look at this option ADF/DME, this is basically automatic direction finder. If you click this, you can enter the NDB's frequency over here. So the NDB's frequency is 326. So just move the smaller knob and just change the digits over here, 1 and 0. And then for the large knob, you can just cycle through these numbers. So it's 326. Now I can make this as an active frequency by pressing enter. Now ADF is there. And I want ADF on NAV1 or NAV2. So once I'm turning right, I will be tracking this course on basically NAV1. So for NAV2, we can use the NDB. That's it. So that's how you do it. And you can also click this and hear the Morse code. So you confirm. So once you have this frequency, you can also listen to it and then you confirm that you are getting the signals for this non-directional beacon. Now you can just get rid of it. And that's it. So now almost 6.9 nautical miles to go. As I'm also near the top of descent, so I will start the descent right now. Set the vertical speed and plus the altitude. So I'll set it to 4,000 and the vertical speed will be 500, maybe 600. Reduce the thrust. Let's press flight level change so that speed will be at 85 knots. That's it. Now you have to redo the calculation because I will be not doing this maneuver at 85 knots. So that's why let's divide 85 by 200 and get a new distance. So it's again 0.4 nautical miles. Not a big difference, but as a precaution, I will just turn right just 0.5 nautical miles before this VOR. Now just 1 nautical mile to go. You're also getting this indication from the nav mode. 0.8. Let's reduce the speed. And let's turn 202.5 nautical miles before this VOR. Now it has disappeared, everything, because we are just going above this VOR. Now it started to appear again. Now you can see this right turn. As it's on the right side, so I will just like set the heading in such a way that I will intercept this line. As you can see, I'm trying to intercept it. And now I can set it to 202. Actually, VR navigation is interesting. It keeps you on the edge. And just a little bit of adjustment. And now I'm following this path. Now, if you look at the approach plate, after this point, when I'm 3 nautical miles away from this viewer, I can descend to 2000. But till this point, I have to be at 4000 and above. So currently, everything is good. After this point, I can start the descent to 2000, because at this point I can be 2000 and above, but it's better to be at 2000 feet. So let's further reduce it and flight level change. Reduce the thrust. Now what I'm going to do is this, that I don't need the VOR tracking, because for one, I'm VOR1, nav1, I'm tracking this VOR. For nav2, I can just change it because I just want to get rid of this bearing pointer, because now I will be bringing up the bearing pointer for the NDB. For the NDB, there is no course deflection indicator. It will just show you the direction of the NDB. Now, as you can see, we are moving diagonal to this NDB. So we are moving actually on the radial of this NDB. So that's why this will keep on moving. It has to be somewhere around here, because this is 360, this is 5, 7. So once this bearing pointer is over here, then we are not aligned with the runway, but we can see the runway and we can then do the alignment with the runway. Because, as I've shown you before over here, it's if you're following this heading 007, you will still not be aligned with the runway. Great. And another thing, after 10 nautical miles, which is over here, I will be heading 313 right, in order to bring this bring the plane on this course. Now I've crossed this 10 nautical miles point, so now I can turn heading 313. That's it. Now you can see that this bearing pointer is moving towards 7 degrees. You can also look at the approach plate over here and plus the map. Now I can further reduce the speed because when I will be turning right for the runway, then I will be intercepting the glide slope and I have to start the descent towards the runway. I will try to keep the speed at 65. So if my speed is 65, then if I multiplied it by 5, then my vertical speed should be 325. I'm just extending the flaps. Because I will be going with full flaps. So flaps fully extended. Now 360. Soon I will be just intercepting this line. You can see this bearing pointer for the NDB. It's moving. It will be somewhere here when I will be turning right, heading 7. Now you can see the numbers over here are changing. 5, 6, and 7. It went back to 4. That was interesting. And now I can just like start turning in this heading 007. And then you will see the runway. And with this, I can start the descent and reduce the altitude. I can keep it at 400 and reduce the speed. Now, as the plane is not aligned with the runway, so at any time you can disengage the autopilot, try to land the plane yourself, or what you can do is this: you can just keep on adjusting the heading. Till you are aligned with the runway. Now I will just make some adjustments. No, still it's not there. Let's disengage the autopilot and land the plane. Because this is the most important thing. We did the flight so that we can land the plane. So this is how you fly approach. So this is how you fly an approach when the NDB. So this is how you fly an approach when the viewer is not aligned with the runway. The best thing is this to basically first of all make this flight plan in the G1000 so that you can visually see it. You will see all the speed and constraints and the altitude constraints and everything. So it will help you even understand the approach plate better. And once you have an understanding, then you can just like do the VOR navigation. But for every runway, the approach procedure can be different. So this was for Scathos. Maybe if you are doing some VOR navigation and VOR approach, maybe there's no NDB at the runway. Because at this airport, there was an NDB. So we got the direction. So when you hit something like this, then you have to, have a good RVR, runway visual range, in order to land the plane. Because, if you cannot see the runway, obviously you cannot land. Even in this case, if I couldn't see the runway, then obviously the landing wouldn't have been possible. Now, the best thing about this runway is this, that it has the PAPI lights. So it will just guide me with the glide path. So I hope this video was really useful for you. And now you will be able to fly some VOR approaches. You can look for some interesting VOR approaches over the internet and you can just try them. So now, this is the landing. Finally. Oops, I missed this point. Anyhow, this video was not about the landing. It was a bad one. Thank you very much for staying with me. If you've got any questions, you can ask me in the comment section, or if you want to add anything to this video, the comment section is there for you.